yeah, it's a standard ban, but if you forget it against Hellions once, you'll instantly regret it. I mean, of all teams in the world almost, you just don't give it to the Hellions.
Yeah, definitely not. As Corki actually going to see some respect here as well. So starting to see a couple of shifts here in the meta. Corki's been picking up around the world as Tom Kench going to get a ban as well.
Yeah, Corki and Ezreal are two of the champions that have picked up in popularity. One of them is primarily flexed into 2 roles though and has a lot more power throughout the map. So they get rid of the Corki. Ezreal's most likely going to get picked in a lot of these drafts just because you can't waste a ban on it.
So, well, not yet at least, but Elise is going to get the 3rd ban there from Hellion as Legacy consider their final champion. I agree, probably not going to be old Ezreal. Probably Gangplank has been the standing on we've seen, but Legacy on the red side maybe have a plan here with the final ban.
You would have to think so, keeping in mind Gangplank is available. We don't know to the extent that Hellions can play it, but they don't ban it.
Well, Gangplank's now officially available, at least to be picked here as Graves is the last ban from Legacy. Ryu goes straight to hover it, and there it is. First pick for Hellions.
Can't say I'm surprised that it's locked in, but a big confidence, I'm going to say, ban here, getting rid of the Graves, knowing that Hellions will pick it up, and there's their rotation.
Yep, Lulu Rek'Sai actually. So fairly good picks on red side, but we've seen Gangplank. He just tears games to pieces sometimes.
Sometimes. A lot of the time, Gangplank tends to fall behind because it's easy to pressure him out early. Looks for items, looks to start scaling and get those kegs out to do a lot of damage. Usually needs the Trinity Force before he has a massive impact on the map, but once he hits level 6, the ultimate still influences areas where he's not, even if he can 1v1 in the top or mid lane respectively. Gangplank just has so much pressure. Yeah,
surprisingly flexible and plenty of pressure from the Pirate, likely in the top lane, but potential mid laner for Bomb as well, who can play just about anything. Hellions, though, do need to pick up a few more here, and they've got about 20 seconds to decide what they want to finish, or what they want to continue with the draft here. And that's aggressive. Kassadin and Lucian picked up, so effectively, your 3 carries now completed.
Yeah, they've picked their carries, which means they're flexing their jungle and support pick, which for Danian raises some interesting questions, perhaps respecting Regret and his support capabilities. Wants to make sure their bot lane matchup is good enough, but yeah, that's an aggressive early rotation here of the Kassadin. It could well be a Lulu top lane. They don't know.
Yeah, well, Alistar and Kalista are going to be the answer there for Legacy. So super solid bottom lane. Alistar's been probably the most picked and banned and most popular support. And Kalista perfectly good with the alley as well.
This is a great draft here from Legacy so far. 4 strong champions in their respective roles. The only thing that's missing is either Tally or Choo Choo's. Lissandra's still available, but they know they're against a Kassadin. Hell, if I was Choose, I'd pick a Zed.
Yeah, maybe just go back to some of the assassins that he was known for, but have seen him play Lulu. He's played plenty of champions now. Feels like Choose has diversified a bit since maybe a few years ago. But 25 seconds now for Hellions, and we might just go back to the Janna here. We've seen the Janna Lucian before from Frey and Denian. Have to think maybe Denian favors a few more of the defensive supports, but like you said already, we're apparently looking for a jungler and a support.
Well, I think we're looking for an aggressive jungler, to say the least. For the support role in particular, Denian kind of just wants to keep himself in the laning phase. He's against King and Regret, hyper-aggressive bottom lane, and picking something like the Janna runs a risk of being down in that lane.
Good prediction there from Rusty, because Lee Sin will be locked in for Cookie, and Janna will be the pick there for Denian. Oh my god, you're a genius. Insta-lock of the Zed from Choo Choo's.
Not a surprise. You blind pick a Kassadin, not knowing which lane the Lulu's going to go in. This is what you get for it. Of course, not an easy lane for a Kassadin. Volatile is the word that comes to mind. But they've picked an aggressive jungler here in the Lee Sin on Hellions. He's going to have to look mid lane. The thing is, Carbon likes to look top lane.
Yeah, and we sort of heard that from the desk where Carbon has been favoring maybe getting top a little bit more ahead. Have to think Ryu on the Gangplank makes sense to want to try and keep that champion down, but we've heard about Bomb and just how explosive he can be. Again, horrible puns not intended. And we know Cookie likes to focus that lane. They are the Korean duo. It makes sense that they'd want to play together. But Choo Choo's, he's very practiced on this champion. It's nice to see him back on an assassin.
Absolutely. It's almost a comfort pick for him where he lost it and found it again. Yep. So it's like the born-again Zed main has come back to reclaim his throne, essentially. My big concern here for Hellions is that Legacy's bot lane will not be contested here. They're just going to be sitting in a 2v2. And that, to me, almost indicates that Hellions want a lane swap because they're not going to be comfortable against this Legacy 2v2. If they can switch the matchup and switch the entire map up in saying that, they might be better off.
Well, we'll have to find out as we are going to get ourselves onto the roof. But before we do, tonight, don't forget, we have a battle of 2 houses.
Cookie and Bomb are the 2 new players on Hellions. And well, they were announced from Top 50 Challenger, the part of the Korean server. So my initial thoughts were that they were going to be fantastic, you know. Koreans all-stars, but I played with them a couple times. They haven't impressed me as to what my expectation of a Korean player would be.
Never mind, he's in.
Yeah, he's looking for it. Oh my god!
There it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about importing talent, especially to a small region like ours. I feel like Ryu's just rang his mates up, tell them to come down and knock the rest of us off. I'm not sure if that'll be as easy as he reckons.
The man disadvantage, Carbon over the backside, just trying to eat the AB members. Shelby still skittering away his destiny. He's gonna...
I think they are a bit overhyped. You can't expect like an all-star player to come in and immediately like make this team #1. You've got strong laners, you've got strong individuals, but it's a team game.
In there! Oh my god, he stole the Baron! 3-man shockwave in there for Bob, and now Ryu gonna go straight into the middle of everyone.
Ryu.
Jenny is moving in for it. Ryu wants it, but he's sunned up for so long.
There is definitely pressure for us to perform. When I first came into the league, I wanted to beat these guys. Like, I wanted to beat like Legacy, I wanted to be first, I wanted to beat Chiefs.
Celtics stun there as well. Midbeast cuts it off. Hellions just take out the mid laner. 4v5. Now Ryu comes down, teleports in.
Try and avoid the cliche, every game is important for us. But the game against Hellions is especially important, I think. Especially being able to compare ourselves to the only other team in OS that has a house. I think a victory against Hellions in week 3 will set us up really well for the rest of the season.
And here we are on to Summoner's Rift for our first game of a very special best of 3 here in week 3 of the OPL, as House Legacy and House Hellions will take to the Rift for the first time tonight.
Absolutely right. More on the line than just standings for both of these teams. There is pride. We heard it from Ryu in particular. He wants to beat these big teams like Legacy and Chiefs, these big Oceanic names. And as a new established team like the Hellions, this is the perfect opportunity for him to do so.
Certainly is, and this will be a test for both sides here, as Hellions getting a little bit aggressive early on, just trying to scout out some vision. Carbon will eat the Q there from Cookie, but should be okay. And again, looking from the lineups, you predicted the draft pretty much to a pick. As we can see here from Blind Turkey, I think Carbon and Choo-Choo's will 2-man carry this series. And you know what? That is not bad money to put on.
I feel like it's safe to assume that as well. Carbon might be inclined towards this middle lane if you look at the drafting. And you're right, as you mentioned, I'm almost going to say it was predictable here from both teams. Legacy not necessarily getting the better hand with their drafting phase, but they're comfortable. They should be able to win laning phase comfortably. It comes down to this jungle role.
Yeah, we'll have to see just how much action we get with the early jungle, as Carbon is going to start here with the Krugs with a bit of help from Tally, and Cookie on the other side there with Ryu is going to be that Gromp into blue. So they'll end up on the same side of the map, but don't forget, we've seen it a little bit from Cookie already. Watch from maybe a sneaky level 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Cookie, volatile player. Bit unpredictable, which is one of the unique things about this Hellions jungle. You never know what he's actually going to do until he makes the decision. Carbon, on the other hand, he's methodical, he's thought out, he's practiced. Bomb's losing half of his health from level 1 ZQs.
Yeah, and this is Choo-Choo's really understanding the matchup. It is effectively melee versus melee for the first initial levels especially, and Choo's right now still showing that Zed that may have not have played for a little while, definitely not rusty.
Not at all, that's me. So he's actually Choo-Choo's, he's in the game page through time, but shows he knows he's definitely still got mechanics, just so you're all aware. And being this old school Zed player, it's not something you easily lose, Zed mechanics. They've changed the champion, but they almost put him back to where he was.
Yeah, and Chooz has to be happy with that. Like you mentioned, definitely a old school assassin player. As you can see the bottom side now, this is the other lane we might expect Legacy to really be able to strong arm there. And already you can see King up a couple of CSs. Cookie and Carbon will meet for the first time tonight as he's going to chase him away from that Rift Scuttler. Carbon wants it. He flashes in with the red buff, and Cookie forced a wall jump out of the way. Carbon burns the summoner, but kicks Cookie out of his jungle.
He has pressure of the map right now, and we said it comes down to what the junglers can do early. Well, Carbon stamped his foot down in the enemy jungle in this case. Zed's got pressure. Lulu's now got pressure. Look at them pushing these waves aggressively, finding advantages where they can simply from the knowledge they don't have to worry about Elysian.
Yeah, we heard it from the desk there as well. We may have expected Legacy to have a strong laning phase here, and right now 3 lanes pushing. Legacy looking good early on as Ryu is low from the Tally harass here in topside. Gonna put that keg down. Oh, Tally denies it with an auto.
And here's Carbon, maybe to pressure away a lot more of this CS. I'd be surprised if it's a dive, but they're going.
Carbon wants it. The teleport's in. Ryu's getting low. Carbon has to bail out with the tunnel, but they do force the TP out of Bomb.
That is actually a big cooldown in this middle lane taken out of Bomb. Ryu luckily eats those oranges, but the pressure's there. If Carbon had flash, might have been a kill.
Bomb. Revisit. Legacy actually have a ward in bottom side jungle. Bomb is going to get discovered. They're going to try and take on Carbon, but Carbon will stand his ground. And he's doing so much damage still with this red buff. Ryu is making his way back, but Carbon now taking minion aggro has to back away.
Zed's about to find Cookie in the jungle as well. And more knowledge.
Just spotted him there, but Carbon will tunnel to safety. Cookie wants to fight him, lands the Q, but just kicks him out this time. Tally is going to go back by the looks of things. He'll recall, get himself a Doran's ring, but Carbon's aggression has turned all the way up today.
Absolutely is, and the one advantage we find from this, not necessarily in that top lane besides the teleport, we look at that middle lane. The fact that Kassadin teleported and was already losing lane, it's a lot of pressure and farm that's just gone to waste.
Speaking of pressure down the bottom, nice little combo there from Regret. There's a couple of spears come in from King and his Kalista. We do expect the lanes to play aggressively here, especially the duo there from Legacy. So far, so good. There's Chu still in that mid lane, level 5 and 15 CS ahead.
Hasn't bought though. Mind you, hasn't even used a potion in this lane. Very comfortable at the moment. And once he hits 6, we might even see him just use the ultimate for harass. Needs to show some respect though to Cookie because again, meaning you haven't recalled, you actually don't have a lot of power.
Yep, not right now. It's a good double wombo there. In onto Frey goes King, damage is down. But Denian fighting back nicely actually. Good little shots from Frey as King actually it's a pretty significant amount of damage.
Yeah, same thing goes in this bottom lane. Volatile from the Lucian as long as the Janna shield is at the right time. Denian showing he's at least got the shield mechanics down pat. This bottom lane of Hellions starting to feel more comfortable.
Tally again, good harass there in the top side as well. Ryu starting to get poked up pretty heavily by the Thunderlord's Lulu. Cookie now level 4, look to a mid lane, but right on top of a ward. Carbon though has gone back to farming. He's curbed some of that aggression for now because he was actually falling behind in farming experience, but looks like he might just take his blue buff, keep that experience going.
One of the strengths you'll find of the new jungle is you can put a lot of early pressure down and go get a jungle item, just take those camps, and immediately you catch up.
Oh wow, well timed there from Carbon, now level 5. Chu's in, does he have ulti? He does! Who's gonna go in for it? Flashes over the top. Bomb is absolutely dead as Choo-Choo's grabs first blood. Now Cookie gonna get absolutely ravaged by the Zed. Carbon will not chase, and Chu's.
It was almost just that predictable here from Legacy. The big factor in what actually forced this fight to happen was Bomb going for the Scuttle Crab to try and steal it away from Carbon. Gives Choo-Choo's the flank and the immediate way in to pick up a kill. This is not the start that you're looking for as a Kassadin, not into a Zed matchup.
Yeah, you mentioned it does get volatile there in the mid lane. Well, Chu certainly showing some of that off there, and we'll go back for a big buy with that first blood gold and a big CS advantage as Carbon now looking bottom lane this time. Frey forced to get out of there. Denian has to flash in. Flash pull. Ult down there for GP, but Denian's under fire. Forced to flash away from it. Tornado will disengage in Carbon. He got low in the exchange. Frey might keep chasing here. He does do the damage. Regret in trouble as the heals get used. Carbon going to move it back in for the knockup. And Legacy disengage safely.
They do disengage, but they force out the heal, I believe, from King to actually keep Regret alive. Jeez, that was not actually great. Gangplank ultimate, a big deal.
Certainly not, as Ryu does help disengage. You can see the fans on Twitter certainly behind the Choo-Choo's train because it is certainly already rolling.
Also behind the C Groomy train as well. Definitely for the win. Good stuff here from Legacy, of course. And as you said in this middle lane, big advantages for Choo-Choo's. If anyone's going to get them through this middle game, continue to carry for Legacy, 100% on this Zed's back.
And you can see Caulfields and the serrated Dirk all completed now, so Ghostblade on the way nice and early. Yeah, he's massive. He'll have Ghostblade probably under 10 minutes in this game. And you can see Bomb is already starting to struggle. It's not getting much better.
Choose is focusing a lot more on the wave control, wants to reset that, get it a bit more close to even so that he can look for fights, because that ultimate is now available. And Bomb can't afford to use his once.
And Cookie now looking in there, might use it now to get aggressive. There's the ulti created for Choose, but Cookie is in the area, gets the kick, and Bomb gets the kill.
And an absolute bait from Bomb. I said he can't use it once, because the second he does, Zed's going to ult him, but he does it on purpose this time, actually baiting Choose in to use his. They take him down, and a good kick from Cookie actually keeps him away from doing as much damage as he can. absolute bait. It takes a long time for Zed's ultimate to actually come down so you're next to the target. It's enough time for Bomb to walk back to his jungler.
Yep, and Cookie right there in the back pocket, able to even things up there in the mid lane. Still CS up for Choose. So he's 20 up now. He's actually gone for the Null Magic Mantle. Wants a bit more defensive stats as Seeker's on the side there for Bomb. So respect being shown with the early itemization, but you have to think that maybe Carbon's going to go for a visit next time.
You would imagine Carbon's going to start pressuring somewhere else on the map now. Has a Sightstone, so looking to control the jungle once again. We saw it at level 1, level 2. There's Rek'Sai trying to place down pressure. He swept the ward, he just kept going.
Ryan said his ward disabled. There's the ulti actually out from Ryu. Teleport again used by Bomb. Every time Carbon comes here, he gets a key cooldown. Does get cancelled, but that's an ulti and a summoner burnt for Hellions.
Yeah, they burn the teleport, and Bomb actually gets chunked a bit in the middle lane as he was using that. Choose walking straight up to his face and making him wish he hadn't used it. Forces some potions, and a big advantage gained here for Legacy from spells used.
Nice combo there, but good shield from Denian. Does sustain a bit of poke illusion as King's able to throw that spear in. Down the bottom you can see CS actually nice and even. So King and Regret, despite playing up aggressively, haven't got a huge advantage in that lane so far, but just in general, Legacy seem to have momentum. They're playing aggressively in every single lane. Is Tally going to get himself the Herald buff? No, it's Carbon that does get it.
Yeah, a lot of junglers are taking this buff at the moment. Empowered Recall, you can kind of impact more than one lane.
Scuttle Crab battle. Cookie wins that one.
Every Scuttle Crab's been fought for almost this game.
Yeah. First one cost Bomb his life, as Carbon's going to tunnel out the back of the Baron pit.
That was the second one.
Oh,
First one was like a level 3 jungle off.
As Choose playing a bit more cautiously now. Definitely knows he's got the attention of Cookie. Prey again. Great spear in from King. Render's down there as well. Now Carbon's down in the bottom side. Looks for Denian. Finds a flash, but the ulti will disengage as Monsoon's popped by Jana. Carbon diving in now. Lulu's come down as well. Here. They're going to go straight in for the massive dive. Prey will get the kill already. And now Ryu's come down. He'll take out King. Regret has popped the ulti. He will collect Jana on the way out, but I don't know if the rest of Legacy will survive. Tally pops the ulti there, but I don't think it's enough to save him. And Legacy may have just come this lane to die. Ward down there from Ryu. Prey pops the heal for the speed on Ryu. Wants one more parlay into the back. Lines up the gun. Goes in for the dive, and the shield's enough.
Tally keeps himself alive, but honestly, this Lulu misplayed on more than one occasion in that fight. Didn't use his ultimate on the Rek'Sai. We're going to see the engage again, and watch Carbon's aggressiveness and confidence, trusting in his team. Knows the Lulu's teleporting, walking down to ult him, doesn't use it. In fact, just shields him and dies. King doesn't get the ult either. He flashes away from the Lulu, who then has to flash for these kills, and coordination between these guys, that looked horrible.
And that's not what we expect here, as Cookie's going to eat it in mid lane. 1v2 for Choose. No, here's 2v3. Cookie is dead there as Choo Choos takes him out in style, and Bomb now forced to Rift walk away.
And Choo Choos does take down the 1v2 essentially with a GP ult to boot, and Regret, thinking that it wasn't going to be enough, does flash combo his way in to ensure it, just in case, but Zed damage enough, and Legacy get one back.
Yep, nice answer there for Choosers. We're starting to really turn things up here on the Rift. Legacy, though, counter-jungling those Krugs. Denian just going to get some vision down, power up a Tornado, but Carbon does get it. Auto attack enough there from Rek'Sai as he leaves the jungle via the tunnel system.
Which, weirdly enough, has an established tunnel in the enemy jungle, along with 4 wards, I will add. So Bomb and Cookie kind of can't rotate down that direction whatsoever. They're confined to one half of the entire jungle.
Choose is low here. Has to be careful from Bomb. No sustain anywhere for Choose right now. And now Bomb's going to go in for it. Might just keep turning it around, but we'll need a bit more than that. Doesn't commit. Choose will back off. And Bomb starting to get a bit more traction in the lane.
So it was an aggressive maneuver from Bomb, but it was just to secure lane pressure. Choo Choos was overstaying his welcome, trying to get gold before he recalled. And he gets enough gold, though.
Oh, Carbon actually going to get aggressive, but Cookie's around the side, kicks him in. Bomb moves forward, and it's like, I don't really want this guy in my face. Carbon should be able to run out of this, does fire the Prey Seeker off as he leaves.
Don't kick the Rek'Sai towards your low health Cassidon. That's silly.
Oh, Bomb staying. Very aggressive, but Choose not back just yet. Carbon instead goes to clear the ward. And Bomb will now back away safely behind the tree line, as Carbon's just going to take the Raptors instead.
Again, like, look at the wards on the bottom side of Hellion's jungle. He can't go there. Bomb has one, Cookie has one side of the map that he can go to, rather. And it just gives all of this pressure for Legacy for nothing, just because they know the Cookie can't be there.
It's also giving Tally lots of room in this top side to continue pushing into Ryu. It's actually relatively far ahead in CS. Still has a decent lead here, but the Rotavator's very close to completed. Choose will get himself the blue buff and walk his way back to lane. And Essence Weave is actually completed now for Frey, with King on the Bilgewater building in towards that Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, different builds here in the bottom lane. Of course, Blade of the Ruined King, the standard go-to for any Kalista player. The major difference between these guys is King wants a second item to really spike. I mean, in saying that, Frey having this one item and having a Janna to support him actually means there's a lot of sustain, a lot of damage that can come out of that 2v2. It all comes down to what Regret can do now.
Yep, you can see Alistar looking just fine right now, but everyone is playing sort of safe here in the bottom lane at the moment. As Cookie, once again, is in mid lane on top of a pink ward, but Choose, I think, has sort of wisened up to this act. Playing nice and far back.
There's pink wards on either side, basically, here for Hellions. So they know the lane they want to focus.
Ooh, gets aggressive. Cookie those here. Deathmark moving in, but Choose going to get kicked out of the way. Bomb's going to get chased down. Choose does get it, but he's going to win a tower hit and the Gangplank ult. There's the traders. Ryu gets the counter kill.
Yeah, Ryu managing to pick that up is a big deal, but Ryu's lost his top tower and Carbon is here, rightly timed.
Here we go, Flash is good. Chilling Smite though from Carbon's going to knock up Wild Growth to combo into it, and Ryu's going to get chased down and killed.
A simple kill. Not having the ultimate for Ryu was a big deal, honestly, and getting himself in trouble there. No slow to stop Carbon. And Carbon can just use that Chilling Smite, close the distance, and just like clockwork here, Legacy, they get the trade. And not only do they get a trade, they get a positive one, because Choo-Choo still did get bombed.
Yep, Cookie again has been really hammering that mid lane. It is keeping the Kassadin in a relatively good state, but Choo-Choo is still up in gold.
Yeah, it's
at 3-2-0 with 30 CS up as well as Carbon. This time's going to give the buff to Tally.
Yeah, it's not a relatively good state, I don't think, by any means here for Bomb. Forced to go Seeker's Arm Guard before the Rod. Delays that even more so. And Zed's still getting trades every single time that they focus him. Actually favors Legacy because Carbon doesn't need to be here. Cookie's wasting all of his time here, and if Cookie wasn't here, Choose will still kill him.
Yeah, and you kind of noted this before, but Carbon using his early aggression to, try and force people out of the jungle, get vision down, and then just continuing that. Hellions have done a good job pink warding the bottom side there, but in general, the vision for Legacy has been great, and that just affords these lanes that were already playing aggressively to continue to push up on players. Look at Tally now. Still up in CS, but with a needlessly large rod and a Rod of Ages done.
Yeah, that's a major difference here, especially with the Gangplank not even finishing a Trinity Force at this stage. Lots of positives for Legacy. And we spoke about the vision, the fact that Legacy do have superior vision, and yeah, they've answered back in that bottom lane with pink wards, but Carbon was ganking top.
Oh, Cookie face checks Regret, is going to get over the side with a ward hop, but King and Regret have rotated in. They want to try and take this turret. Denian will charge up the NATO. Cookie's going to miss that Q. Bomb's going to chase in. Looks like Hellions want to go for this one. Ryu with the TP as well. They are going to chase him for King, but Regret does disengage it. Culling is out. Regret can't get pulled out of it, but Cookie rides all the way in, and Tally makes it in time to Wild Growth Kalista. That's going to be the first kill as Bomb now has to run away, and Carbon ready to chase in. They look for Denny, and they will take him down as a double for Lulu. Make it a triple no as Carbon will get the third, and Choo-Choo's now coming in as well.
And this is a massacre right here for Hellions. No reason to chase that aggressively. They knew the Legacy were out of position, but there's only so far you can chase before being out of positions, now in position to fight. They readjust and they poise themselves for battle. Hellions, they overreach.
And I missed a kill. Someone else died off screen, I think. Might have been poor Ryu. This barrel does go down. Ryu back now. He might have still been dead from earlier, in fact.
Oddway just said doesn't have his ult. So.
Yep. That was my thinking. As Legacy are going to take out this tier 2 as well. They do commit for it, and they're able to take it down, and all of a sudden, that's a huge gold lead here, 18 minutes in, 7k up.
At 18 minutes to have a lead this big just raises all of the questions. As, yeah, Ryu was already dead. They see the engage here. Cookie overreaches 100%. King even jumping out of the Lee Sin kick, and this is where the re-engage from Carbon combos with Regret, and it's just so easy here for this Legacy side, fighting with absolute conviction, taking down Hellions again and again.
Also without the Zed, which was impressive. True's swooped in, he's now level 13.
Yeah.
But just swooped in to actually help take the turret. He's split pushing now. Ryu cannot battle this Zed 1v1.
Not at all, and this is a smart strategy here for Choo-Choo's and the rest of Legacy. They've already 1v1'd each other once, and Choose came out the other end better for it. as did Legacy on the rest of the map, because Hellions tried to fight without Zed there, thinking it was their major source of power. Evidently not.
And Bomb forced back relatively late. You said this already, but having to go sickest first will delay the rod. Does have the rod of ages now, but Choo-Choo's just all in the bottom. Top lane, so Ryu, goodbye. Deathmark pop,
Nope.
no oranges are enough.
Doesn't have the ignite to secure the kill. Thought it was enough because the mark came up on his head. Now in trouble.
Yeah, Bomb's also here, and Choo-Choo's going to have to turn a fight. Hextringer proc, Shadow's there. Choos needs a slow. Blue trinket used, and Choo's going to keep running. Bomb, though, plenty of blinks to speak of. Choo-Choo's still getting chased down, and Bomb, just one more. He's going to move in, will dive the turret, and can't complete the kill as Dragon goes to Legacy.
Boots of swiftness here for Choo-Choo's come up trumps as Bomb only has the brown leather bags to help him on his endeavors. Ooh,
Cookie
unlucky.
does get out of that one, but Frey forced to burn the flash there. Legacy assaulting that bottom outer will take it. 4 turrets to 0 now. And the train very much is rolling for both Choo-Choo's and the rest of the team.
This is a lead that is just completely blown out of proportion here for Legacy. The pressure that they're placing on this map from start to finish has to be noted. They're a powerhouse right now.
Really are. As they'll even take the jungle on the way out. Red buff wins a king. Looks like Raptors are going to go over as well.
There could be a very real argument for Carbon being the best jungler in all of the OPL right now.
Certainly with the way he's playing, I'd be inclined to agree. And certainly playing excellently this game is Tally. I'm going to say surprising performance, but he's just done so well. He's been the beneficiary of quite a lot of these early fights. He's 3-0-2 and he's already got a death cap. And the run of 8 is at 20 minutes.
Yeah, Tally's going off, and he has been in every single OPL game. This guy is new to the top lane. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. He
Fresh
was an
back
AD
to the
carry.
lane.
Yeah, back towards the top lane. So has to relearn the role, and a very changed role, to be fair. Has adjusted to it very nicely, and is actually doing a lot of work in every single Legacy game.
You can see Truce has his ignite now. Oh, he's spotted Cookie. He's going to move in for the crab. Does take it. Cookie's like, nuh-uh, I don't want any of this.
Oh,
as
he's about
Carbon's
to
going
find
to
it.
swoop in. Preyseeker finds him. Deathmark's good. Choo-Choo's going to move in. He gets kicked out of the way. That's the smart way to go, but don't know if he's got anyone else to run to. He's going to have to go up to a minion. Does Q towards it, but Choo's will flash for it. One straight in for the kill. Ignites him as well. Choo-Choo's with the overkill.
Better safe than sorry here for Choo-Choo's. He does enough damage, and having the ultimate down, may as well just use everything while we're going here. 5-2 and 0. This Zed does not take assists, only names.
Yep. And it's taken 5 already in the name of House Legacy. Choo-Choo's quite the warrior here. Level 14 on Zed already as it's 2 fronts now. King and Tally just fighting bottom side. Ryu starting to get chunked out as he is going to move for it. Culling's good, and Bomb just jumps in on one for it. King going to try and move out of the way. Carbon's here, but it's going to be a little too late as Bomb is able to get the double kill. Carbon will get out safely, but top lane's in ruins.
Yeah, they've got a lot of pressure here. Regret actually sitting top lane with Choos. Not entirely sure what the Alistar's doing here, but he's helping his team.
Ooh, Q lands onto Choo-Choo's, but not going to follow in. Looks like Carbon just tying up Bomb there in the bottom lane, being annoying more than anything else, although Bomb's quite low. Might have to worry a bit, as Carbon has definitely shown his aggression this game.
Tally just honestly doesn't use his R key. I swear.
As the regret puns continue from at King No
So
Set.
that's a double pun, by the way.
Well played.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh, Carbon, trouble. Nope, gets a knock up. This is part of the Lee Sin problem. Does ward hop, but he's short there for the cripple. And Carbon tunnels away and just recalls in a bush as Choo-Choo's also wants to go back and spend some money. Looks like he does have the Tiamat and Black Cleaver on the way. Oh, he's staying. Wants Ryu. Ryu backs off instantly and with good reason.
Has to respect, of course. Choo-Choo's in a massive point of power. We've seen the damage that Ryu can put out on this Gangplank, but in a raw one-on-one battle, you have to give the victor to this Assassin Zed every single time right now.
I mean, this is the thing with Gangplank. He's a great champion, but you sort of mentioned this in the draft. He needs to get going. He needs his items. He does crazy amounts of damage when he gets them, but getting to that point can prove tricky. Tally played the lane well. Is still 30 CS ahead. And just in general, Gangplank's been a bit contained here in this one. Regret, though, looking for a bomb. Going to move in for it as King does fill in with spears. Denian tries to disengage, and Regret wants nothing of the sword. He jumps straight forward as Tally up to the flank is chasing. Choos.
Wow!
Huge burst damage takes out Denian. Frey going to get absolutely wrecked with all the Deathmark proc. And Choos wants to triple. Wild Growth is there. He is going to get it. And that's 4 kills for nothing. Legacy.
And Choo Choo saying, who's next? Because he's looking for blood. This guy is an absolute monster on this Zed. Wow, Legacy just rip apart Hellions one more time. They go straight to that Baron. And Ryu nowhere to be seen as he's in the bottom lane dealing with Tally. Keep in mind, Tally teleports. Ryu does not. He backs off. Cookie's caught on the side dealing with the Lulu. And this is all Choo Choo's show. As he takes apart one member instantly without using the ultimate. Follows it up with the second kill with that ultimate on Frey. And then the third one just gifted to him.
Yep, bit of help there from Tally on the assist as Ryu stays himself bottom lane, make sure to clear what he can. Carbon looking to cancel a recall, zooming in with the home guards. He's used the ulti, and he's just going to stop Ryu. Even autos the keg, just to add insult to injury. Does it again, but Ryu, I think, got the proc for a bit of extra move speed. Is going to keep moving, but Tally wants to chase. Cookie's here as well. Now Legacy will back away, but the aggression is unrelenting from this side.
There is no way Carbon dies in these fights from now on. So he's happy to be this aggressive, controlling every single aspect of this map, him and the entire Legacy side. Look at him.
Cookie gets interrupted on that safeguard. Actually, now going to get towered over. Kick's already used. Choo Choo's collects another victim, his 9th of the game. Level 16 already, and an absolute beast.
Towers do not matter. Objectives don't matter here. Legacy, they've got the Baron buff. They're about to just parade their way into this base. Ryu's the only last port of call for defense. Can he do it?
Well, it's going to be tricky here for Hellions as King with the Runins able to knock down those creep waves pretty swiftly. Dragon is up, so it might just be a detour here for Legacy. Now that Baron has actually still on them, but it's probably dropping off soon. Tally in the meantime continuing to push, but Bomb and Frey here to clear this out as
Don't
Legacy.
be fooled. They still have over half their Baron left. They're just accelerating the game. So.
Yep. One slap from Choo Choo's. That's big damage. And now Bomb going to get dove. Combo doesn't quite complete, but they're going to move Regret straight into the team with the Fate's Call. Now Cookie looking for someone on the side as GPLT is going to slow Legacy down. Bomb dives in for it, but Carbon's so tanky still as Tally still on the flank. Choo Choo's goes in. His target is Frey. He'll move in for it. He gets exhausted. Moves his way out there as Tally's there to save him. A Bomb just on the front lines dies to Carbon as King. Going to leap himself forward and maybe get a double on it. Gets one for Ryu. Another one there onto the Janna. And Legacy just overwhelmingly ahead in this game.
Legacy are just everywhere in these fights. They're battling on 3 fronts, and they're still overwhelming their opponents. Tally with the flank, Zed with the burst, and King in the backline. This is so strong here from this Legacy roster. Wow.
Cookie crumbles again. Legacy able to take this game. Absolutely huge showing from the boys. As we talked about it, they wanted to be the best team. They want to really show up. And boy, did they in that first game.
They definitely showed up in that game. What a way to come into this. The battle of the 2 houses. And to beat them that convincingly says a lot right now about this Legacy side.
Certainly does. And again, just the way they were playing, aggressively pushing 3 lanes. Carbon, I'm going to say almost disrespectful with the way he just romped into the jungle there of Cookie. And just, it never felt like they missed a beat in that game. We didn't need to talk about their macro game.
I mean, if I had to give an MVP of that game personally, I would give it to Carbon. Not only did Zed go off, but he enabled them to do so. Carbon was a monster in that game.
Certainly was there. And we are going to get a little bit more from the analyst desk as the first battle does go to Legacy.
Thank you so much, guys. Convincing win from Legacy that time around. Let's go back to Champion Select because that's where it all began. Giving away Gangplank, Legacy definitely had a game plan here. Swiper, I know you're pretty insightful into this one. What's up with that?
So Legacy, I guess they showed what they like to do, but I don't think they're giving a game plan at all anymore because they do have this Zed answer. And even picking the Zed into this losing matchup against Kassadin, like, it doesn't really matter because they just take control of the mid game, and with Carbon camping top, like, Zed just gets rolling.
Yeah, so the way we're explaining is it's kind of you just swap the lanes. As soon as you're ready, you send Zed into the top lane to just face off against Kassadin, against the Gangplank, deny as much farm as possible. You know, he's not going to be able to get the QSS early enough or he's going to sacrifice a lot of damage. And we saw that that is exactly what Choose did in that matchup, just hunted Ryu around the map. So, but let's talk about the bottom lane for a second. You guys were very vocal on calling out this bottom lane. Frey, Denian, they stood up really well. They turned a couple of ganks. These guys are here to play.
Yeah, and I really want to talk about this as well because I just love it. Denian is sort of seen as this like weak link or something like that by a lot of players. So what they think is, oh, better kill the weak link, right? And now he's on Janna, so he can just disengage everything. Everyone's overextending to try and get this guy right underneath his turret. You saw Carbon doing it a couple of times, and that bottom lane played really well. That failed dive from Legacy was almost a turnaround for this team. And Hellions, despite the fact that they lost that game pretty convincingly to a very, very confident Legacy, there were so many signs that they were improving a whole lot since the last few times that we've seen it.
Yeah, and there were so many fights in this game where it was Legacy were just getting away with slithers of health bars. 2 members in the bottom lane. That would have nearly been a 4-for-1 if the trade had gone a little bit better. You're looking at Legacy thinking maybe they are a little bit overconfident right now, but Carbon just looks like he's controlling the pace of the game at every stage. How annoying it is to play against a jungler that just wants to dive your top all the time.
It's really good game plan from Legacy because they have, like, you would imagine that they'd put all these resources on this AD carry king. But he's transitioned to the support AD carry where they put all their jungle pressure on the top lane, and Choo Choo's is always getting rolling by himself as well. So him diving top lane is probably their best way to play the game right now, and it enables the rest of the team as well.
So what's Ryu to do? Obviously on blue side there are some things you can do. We were talking about a couple of them, like get your jungler in there, maybe smite a wolf camp every now and again.
Yeah. I think that he probably should have helped Ryu a bit more because that was their main win condition to be able to deal with that Zed. But I don't know, they didn't really look for it. Ray was under his turret a lot of the game, so I definitely could have seen a lot of opportunities from the Lee Sin, but...
Yeah, I think that you've outlined the problem here for the Hellions. Is all of their sort of early to mid-game pressure is in this Lee Sin pick, and Cookie, although he had some ideas about camping that mid lane, he got a kill into Choo Choo's earlier on, but he was 0-6 by the end of the game, and it just wasn't able to really fight Carbon at all. As soon as he saw the Rek'Sai, it was like, get out of there.
Yeah, and that's what kind of it was. It was a trade of power picks. Give up Gangplank. We have our counter pick for it, but let's take the Rek'Sai and the Lulu and allowing them to dictate the pace. I just really want to reiterate here at how quick the tempo was and how early Legacy were able to get that advantage. Is there a way that you just stop a tempo game like that? Is a lane swap the answer? Like, what are we looking at going into this next game to really try and shut down this Legacy fast-paced game?
Okay, I'd like for Hellions, I just don't want them to take these risky fights. So like, they actually had the game going well there. It was very even, and then Gangplank had died top lane, and then they try and take a fight mid, and they got completely demolished. So like, don't take these fights. You have a 1-3-1 comp. Just scale and you'll eventually just win the game, and you let them make the mistakes. So I just don't want them making these proactive plays.
Yeah, and we've seen that Hellions like to draw out their games as long as they possibly can. Of course, their victories that they did manage to get were in long games. It was sort of this war of attrition by the end of things. So I guess they're used to playing at the end game, and they had the Kassadin, they had the Gangplank. Things were working out as far as looking to there, but they just can't lose these mid-game fights. And when you've got this team that's so willing to end a game like Legacy, you just can't afford it.
Yeah, it certainly cannot. Well, they took the mid-game fights. They end up losing because of it, but don't go anywhere. Game 2 between Legacy and Hellions will be back after this.